Joining me now, Tennessee Congressman and member of House Financial Services Committee, Andy Ogles. Congressman, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So the Army extending the National Guard through November 30th here in Washington. As someone who works and lives here part-time, what is your reaction?
Well, what I can say is that when you look at the surge, that it's working. You know, crime has been cut in half. Carjackings are down 86%. And to give context, you've had 2 members of Congress mugged, had an intern murdered, you had a staffer stabbed, the young man that worked for DOJ was nearly beaten to death. Enough is enough. And if you have these woke radical mayors that are unable, maybe inept, unwilling to do their jobs, well, the president of the United States has made it clear, and he's created a template how you can secure America's streets, whether it's Chicago, Memphis, or Nashville.
All right, so that's a live look at protests here in Washington from some folks on the left who are out protesting the National Guard being in the streets of Washington, D.C. To be fair, there are plenty of people on the other side who feel a lot safer seeing the stepped-up manpower here in our nation's capital. Congressman, in the last few minutes, we've seen a war of words back and forth between President Trump and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker over the possibility of federal resources being sent into Chicago. Your thoughts on that?
Well, absolutely, they should be sent into Chicago because you have a governor and a mayor there that are inept and not doing their job. And look, the radical left, they can't run on sound policy. They can't run on the fiscal principles that they had under their president, which nearly destroyed this country. And so all they can do is cast aspersions. D.C. is safer today because we have a commander-in-chief who is committed to the American people. He's committed to law and order. Enough is enough. And like I said, whether it's San Francisco, Chicago, Boston, Memphis, look, Nashville just hit number 8. These mayors need to wake up and accept reality. You need to support the men and women in blue. You need to stand with law enforcement. You need to police and protect our streets because we, the people, have had enough.
You've called for the National Guard to be sent to Nashville. The mayor does not love that idea, saying, quote, Congressman Ogles neither lives in nor even has an office in Nashville. It's outrageous that our absentee member of Congress will be so disrespectful to our hardworking police who have produced multiple year-over-year reductions in crime in Nashville. How do you respond?
And I've had many whistleblowers within the police department call and beg for assistance because this mayor is incompetent. He does not stand with the women, the men and women in blue and in uniform. And they are begging that someone step in and help them do their jobs because that's just it. They want to do their jobs and they don't want an inept, feckless, radical mayor like O'Connell getting in the way. Mayor O'Connell is the same mayor that tried to impede ICE operations in Nashville, Tennessee. He is the mayor that the Homeland Security and the Judiciary Committee is looking at for funneling money from the city to illegal immigrants. So he can speak as if he's some big, bad, bold leader. But the reality is he's hiding under his desk. He's not doing his job. And if he won't defend the people of Nashville, I will.
To the big, beautiful bill, the White House has suggested rebranding it to the Working Families Tax Cut. Let's play Hakeem Jeffries on that, and I'll get you to respond.
They actually think they can improve the view that the American people have relative to the one big ugly bill by changing the name. No. The problem is not the name. The problem is that you ripped away health care from millions of Americans.
How is that signature piece of legislation playing back home in the great state of Tennessee?
Well, you know, I literally just had a town hall and they're excited because, you know, what we did is no, we did not take health care from Americans. We kicked illegals off of Medicaid. We kicked the freeloaders, able-bodied individuals who are sleeping on their mama's couch and don't want to get a job. We kicked them off of Medicaid. Those people need to go get a job. And if you're here illegally, you need to be deported. And so this is going to usher in the golden age of America. When you look at unemployment, we hit our 4.3% target for unemployment. I expect that you'll see an interest rate cut. The housing market is about to take off. We are exactly where the president said where we were going to be. He's delivering on his promises, and we the Republicans are leading on these issues as we try to turn America back around. And quite frankly, had we had another 4 years of Democratic rule in the White House, this country would have been lost forever. Thank God for President Trump and his leadership on these broad array of issues.
Democrats are going after the jobs report, 22,000 reported in the latest report. How do you respond to that?
Again, you have to look at it on the long game. The target rate for unemployment is 4.3%. And quite frankly, the fact that you've had a small tick down in the jobs report actually virtually guarantees an interest rate cut. This is beautiful because what that's going to do is going to make the American dream more attainable for more Americans. It's going to kickstart the housing market, which means more jobs, more economic output from hardworking Americans. This is exactly where we need to be. And quite frankly, we should have already had interest rate cuts, but Powell has not been doing his job when it comes to rate cuts. But that being said, I would predict that we're about to have one.
Congressman Andy Ogles of the great state of Tennessee, thank you so much for your time today, sir.